So joining me now is Randy Zelin, white-collar federal criminal defense attorney and former New York attorney. Sir, thank you for joining us. First and foremost, Randy, just your reaction from today. It was a pretty big day.
Yes, it was a big day, but it was more importantly a good day. My position has always been that if Hope Hicks' testimony does not put the former president in the room, establishing that he knew that there were going to be false entries made in the books and records of the Trump organization, and that those false entries were made to cover up the fact that he was concerned that he'd lose the election if it got out, if these affairs got out. If she could not establish that, there is no way in God's green earth that the former president is going to be convicted. And that's exactly what she did not do. In fact, she brought up the M word. She brought up Melania. And that really is the former president's best defense, which is, I didn't do this because I was trying to influence the election. How about I did this because I was trying to influence my marriage?
Well, and to elaborate on that, you're right. She did talk about how he was very concerned that she would see some of these headlines, and he was trying to make sure that his wife didn't necessarily get the papers that day. To elaborate on your first answer, did we learn of anything new today, or was it more a rehash of dirty laundry? And did we learn of any criminal behavior today that can be used by the prosecution?
Certainly, we learned more because Ms. Hicks did put the former president in the room, and it seems like the prosecution is trying to build building blocks. The problem is it's not a house that is strong enough to hold up to the wind of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. But I'm not certainly going to sit here and say that the prosecution didn't score points. They certainly established that the president knew that he was concerned about the election, that he was aware of the importance of deny, deny, deny. But everyone must understand that the burden of proof on the prosecution, proof beyond a reasonable doubt, is an incredibly high bar. It is, I don't need any more information to make an important decision. And if I do, that is an acquittal. And this trial has been about sleaze. It's been about Michael Cohen being a fixer. It's been about Alan Weisselberg. It's been really about everything other than, did the former president say, I want those entries to reflect legal fees so I can win this election? And the answer is no.
Right. Like you're saying, the crux of it, the legality of it. You brought up Michael Cohen because I want to take a look back at the week in its entirety. The defense's strategy of pushing him a lot, is that a good strategy? Or should they have stepped back and say, this is a non-disclosure agreement, and really just sort of left him alone?
This trial, the more this trial becomes about Michael Cohen, the greater the odds are that the former president either gets acquitted or there is at least one juror who says, I am not convicting. And unfortunately for the prosecution, Mr. Cohen walks in not with the baggage of being a convicted felon. That, to me, would be silly for the defense team to focus too much on. What is important is that Mr. Cohen was a fixer. Mr. Cohen was there. He was put on this earth to fix the former president's problems, just take care of it. So if I'm the defense, I'm embracing Michael Cohen's power. I am embracing Michael Cohen's ability to fix things and to take things on his own. And let's face it, if there was ever a time that Mr. Cohen had a motive to show the president how invaluable he was, it was then, because Mr. Cohen had his sights set on the White House.
Okay, before I let you go, you mentioned building blocks. What do you expect for next week?
Well, I think at some point it's probably a good idea for the prosecution to actually put Mr. Cohen on so we can all stop prognosticating. We can all stop reading tea leaves. We can all stop divining, and let's hear it.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.